what specific things are necessary, or we'll say like strongly useful in a scenario where the experience the person is trying to integrate is deeply troubling, is deeply troubling, or outright traumatic, right? Like, I assume it's not, yoga and meditation, right? So what specific interventions are like, oh yeah, these are the ones that we want to bring on board for someone who had a really difficult time, and is kind of left in the wake of that?
Hmm. That's a very good question, and that's a question that I had to answer myself as well. Because when I started supporting people through the integration service at ICERS, I didn't have a specific training for that. I was a psychologist, I was a breathwork practitioner, but I did not have any specific therapeutic protocol to use with people in these situations. I was coming more from a perspective of when things have gone well, like in the holotropic breathwork setting. Most of the times, or all the times, people are better after the experience than before the experience. So then it's more this scenario of maximizing the benefits, meditation, time in nature, painting, mandala drawing, yoga, whatever. Yeah, and that works beautifully. But one of the things that I discovered early on is that these interventions were not helping people in high distress. Like my active listening, my interpretation from a transpersonal perspective, my compassionate listening was not supportive enough for these people. So I had to look for modalities, therapeutic modalities that would provide tools that could be helpful in these situations. And this is, in my opinion, a radically different scenario than maximizing the benefits. Most likely, a lot of practitioners, people that facilitate sessions, they can provide an integration space that is well done with materials for painting, meditation, whatever. But maybe not all of them can provide these more therapeutic interventions. So usually it's another person that needs to do this integration of difficult experiences. And in my in my experience, these interventions need to be effective. People need to see that this is working in a relatively short time. Yeah, they are in high distress after the experience they had a couple of weeks ago, and they need something that will alleviate the suffering now, not in a year. Not like, okay, trust the process, it will unfold naturally, everything is for a good reason, and it's gonna get better. Well, most likely yes, but they need alleviation now. Yeah. So that was the something that I was faced early on in the integration practice, and I had to look for modalities that would allow me to do something to work with more psychological symptoms like rumination, obsessive thinking, anxiety attacks, insomnia, depersonalization, derealization. This kind of mostly anxiety-based reactions or perception-based reactions. And I cannot go into detail about what tools or techniques specifically. That would be something that needs to be explained in the context of how to create a protocol for intervention in each specific case. But in a way, what we're trying to do is find a way to reach that closure that we're talking about. So closure has not happened, experience remained open, and people are very much in touch with that experience or with the remnants of that experience. Most of the times they are too anxious or scared to go back and have another experience, which would be a natural way of, okay, let's have another one and see if it resolves the previous one. Many times that is not acceptable for the person. It's like, this would be too much. So how do we find in an ordinary state of consciousness a way to resolve the thing that opened in a non-ordinary state of consciousness? And that has been my passion for the last few years. No? And I've tried to look for techniques of regular psychotherapy that could be applied meaningfully with a psychedelic lens, with this idea of a non-directive or inner directive, and that people will reach their own resolution. So and because of the context that I was working in the integration and support service, which we were not charging for our work, and we had a limited number of sessions to provide to each of the persons that would come, it had to be something that would be short, would be focused on the intervention, would provide tools for people to feel that they could alleviate, that they could get some more control on that situation of instability that they were perceiving. What I found very useful, and then I did my own adaptation of that, was the brief strategic therapy from the Palo Alto school. That is something that was created back in the 70s, and that, in my opinion, has some links with the psychedelic treatment. Yeah, it's not 100% linked, but some of the people that developed this form of therapy, they were also knowledgeable in the use of psychedelics. And for me, that was a good tradition to research on and to learn, and then to apply some of its principles in the work in integration.
And that was called, sorry, brief strategic therapy?
Brief strategic therapy. That's the name that's called nowadays, but back then it was the therapy that they did at the MRI, the Palo Alto MRI Institute, Mental Research Institute in Palo Alto.